Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today on the all-new JMac News Show. And you know how we started out every day.
This is the JMac News Attack.
The JMac News Attack, 5 points or takeaways in 5 minutes. This week has been tough for all of us. So many breaking news stories, and I believe all of us have changed a little bit as a result of those stories. So what I wanted to do today in today's news attack is kind of wrap up or sum up many of the big headlines that we saw this week.
Takeaway number 5.
And of course, the most important, the most shocking, the most horrific, 49 people killed in what is being described as the worst terrorist mass shooting since 9/11. This happening in an Orlando nightclub.
I'm just grateful to be alive because after seeing what occurred, I don't even know how I'm alive today.
And I have to tell you, I love the focus on law enforcement heroes and the focus on the victims and their families. We're also getting more and more questions about why this shooter wasn't on anyone's radar. The FBI going back and investigating their systems to see if they were right to take the shooter off of the terrorist watch group. And we just learned that one gun shop owner did call the FBI after the shooter tried to purchase body armor from his location.
Number 4.
The other major news story this week was how politicians decided to respond to the Orlando attack. Hillary made it about guns. Obama made it about guns. Donald Trump made it about Muslim immigration. No one made it about mental illness. We had a lot of proposed legislation. No legislation that I can see would have actually stopped the shooting from happening.
To a large extent, he's blaming guns. And I'm going to save your Second Amendment, folks. I'm going to save your Second Amendment.
As president, I will make identifying and stopping lone wolves a top priority.
Takeaway number 3.
And then the other story right out of Orlando that captured our attention and our hearts. An alligator takes a 2-year-old from off the beach just a foot away from the water. And that child was killed due to drowning and other traumatic injuries.
There's likely no question in my mind that the child was drowned by the alligator.
And, of course, we found out that the signs next to the water said no swimming. But it didn't say no swimming, alligators are present. And a lot of people are wondering if anyone would even get within a foot of the water if the sign said alligators present. We have heard now from Walt Disney World that they are planning now to put up signs near all of the waterways that warn people that alligators are in the water.
Number 2.
This one kind of went under the radar a little bit because of what has been going on in Orlando, but searchers have recovered both black boxes now for Egypt Air Flight 804.
It's highly unlikely that the computer chip, which is at the heart of the memory of the cockpit voice recorder, has been damaged. Even a couple of years afterwards, you would be able to find all the information. The main problem is simply getting physically the thing to the surface, and that has taken a month.
So now they have them. They believe the data on them is intact. And this is very important because if you remember, immediately after the plane went down, officials around the world were very quick to call it a terrorist act. But that assumption was soon called into question because much of the early reporting turned out to be false. At this point, we simply do not know what brought this plane down. Hopefully, these black boxes will reveal the answer.
And JMac News Attack. Takeaway number 1.
This story really caught my attention this week. The road rage incident right here, West Valley City. And it is, by the way, the second one that I'm aware of this month. The other one happened in West Jordan. Both times, a man was shot after a confrontation that happened after an aggressive road rage incident.
The maroon passenger car rammed into the Chrysler and forced it off the road, and at some point multiple shots were fired by the driver of the maroon passenger car.
Now listen, road rage deaths are up dramatically since '04. For some reason, each of us feels that we are a perfect driver, and every time someone else makes a mistake on the roads, it's a personal affront to us, requiring angry, hateful retribution. Reacting this way is a choice, people. There simply is no excuse to turn into a child who can't have his way when you don't get exactly what you want on the roadways. We have got to get control of ourselves on the roads.
The JMAC News Attack.